I've been a full-time artist now for 20 years, and for that entire time I've been inspired by Day of the Dead. When I moved out to Southern California almost 20 years ago from the East Coast, I was just inspired by the holiday, the celebration. It was not my culture, it was another culture that I'd never seen before. I was so inspired by the stories, the music, the sounds. I went to Mexico, to Oaxaca to be part of the celebration and came back infused and wanting to share this story. Now this was before Coco and Book of Life and most people had heard of Day of the Dead anywhere but Southern California. So when I was making this art, I was often the weird skull guy. Who is this skull guy doing this weird stuff at shows? So for me, I was almost an ambassador sharing how special this holiday was to me. Coming from the East Coast, when someone passes away, we'd have a wake and we'd talk about them, but we didn't have the small details. When I lost my grandfather, we didn't have a day where we would share his favorite music, his favorite foods, the small details that get lost of a person's life once they leave your world. To not have that, a day to remember that, really, I didn't know I was missing it until I saw what Day of the Dead could bring. The altars, the ofrendas that could share those subtleties, the foods, again, to see this laid out, these little small memories about somebody. I was jealous I didn't have a cultural part like that I could share that. You know, I didn't have, that piece was missing from my life. So I was very inspired and I wanted to capture that in my work. So I kind of gave me my direction and I kind of started to pursue that. I wanted to take what Day of the Dead had to offer and kind of infuse it in me and find out how I can kind of share that story through me to the rest of the world. I love skeletons. I love how they can be instantly relatable. Everyone's a skeleton. They're not black, they're not white, they're not blue eyes. When you look at one of my pieces, you can instantly jump in because it's a skeleton. It cuts through all the fog and gets to the moment that it's representing, capturing that moment in time. And that's why I love the imagery of the Day of the Dead so much. For me, this pursuit of the Day of the Dead and honoring our loved ones lost, and it really led me to travel and to see how other cultures honor their lost loved ones. I've been to the Czech Republic, to charnel houses, where under these churches there's just rooms full of bones. There's altars, there's just these tremendous structures built all out of bones. That's how people chose, whether they be plague victims or cemeteries that were emptied. People wanted to give these bones and these people's lives one last purpose and let them be shown and honor them. I've been to the catacombs in France. I've been to Italy, all around, seeing how these other cultures and how it's closely tied to Day of the Dead they really are. From the All Souls Day, in the Nordic regions where everyone goes to the cemetery and cleans off their headstones or their little plots to kind of honor the family members that are there, to the different charnel houses, and to see all these different ways that these humans honor and face their death. This has really made it a part of my work from the beginning, and it's something I love to do, and it's really important to tell that story. I think sharing from another culture and being able to be a cultural ambassador to another culture that isn't yours is really something I've never taken for granted. I've gone to Mexico to be part of the celebrations. I've tried to talk to other artists, talk to other cultural leaders to really learn and be part of, so I can be an advocate for and share. I want to share the love and the energy and just the hope that this celebration has given me with everyone else. And I've been able to do that over the 15 years of being an artist and being on the road and sharing my work to tell the story of Day of the Dead. It's something that I am so happy now to see is so large. To see those movies that I mentioned before, Coco and Book of Life, brought a whole new audience in to understand and really show this amazing cultural celebration for what it is and let others share in it.